Well, hello, Eric. How are you?
I'm fine, Sally. How are you?
Yeah, I'm chilled out. You look quite relaxed there, next to Barney the dinosaur, which is a nice yeah. So, how old were you when you got into music?
Right. Two things. I'm from a musical family. My dad played piano, harmonica, accordion, organ, ukulele, all by ear. Picked a tune out of anything. Didn't like the guitar because of the metal strings. You know, takes a couple of months to get used to that when you first start. Um, I'm a lifelong churchgoer, so I've been singing hymns in church since I cannot remember when. Um, Always liked music. Dad used to play at family parties, and everybody get up and sing. I've got four brothers and a sister. We all sing, um, not necessarily out, but we all sing at sort of family get-togethers and things. Two of them do get out now and again. They got my dad's gift. They can play a lot better than I can. Yeah, I got my first guitar at 11, but that journey's been a longer and slower one than singing. I used to have a guy at our church who he was our next door neighbour for 9 years, called Tommy Murphy, and he probably was a bit of an inspiration in the sense that he had that beautiful Irish tenor voice, and I can sort of remember thinking, oh, I'd love to sing like that. Yeah, that's when I started. Um, there's a long journey after that.
So, has your upbringing actually influenced your type of music that you perform?
Yes, in the sense that I still love all the stuff that my dad and mum used to sing. I still try and play them now and again, sometimes with disastrous results, as you might note from the Dun Cow on Monday night. Um,
Happens to the best of us. Well, me frequently stopping you too.
it does indeed. Um, yeah, I like their music, always have done. If you look at my iPod and the music that's on there, you'll still find a few of the things that I got on vinyl from my dad and mum and put into the iPod, sort of. The ink spots and the ladies whose name escapes me, but sang Boogie Woogie Boogle, the Andrews sisters, yeah.
Gosh, I've not heard that one for a while.
But when I was 16, 17, 18 maybe, the folk music revolution had been around for about 15 years or something like that, maybe slightly longer. And they had folk clubs in Chesley Street, things like that. And one or two in Durham. And I wouldn't say I was a regular attender, but I used to go and really picked up on liking folk music. But we did three radio programs when I was at primary school: Time and Tune, Rhythm and Melody, and another one I cannot remember. And basically, they gave us songbooks, and they were all folk songbooks. The Lincolnshire Poacher, John Peel, all sorts of stuff that I still find myself singing snatches of now and again. Song of the Western Men. So I had that sort of link to folk music. Really like that. Went to I did my industrial training back home from Leicester Poly in 1971, and when I got there, some of the young people in the village, including my cousin, had set up a folk club in the George and Dragon. So I went to that. I wouldn't play guitar and sing. I just wasn't good enough on the guitar. My argument is I've never been good enough on the guitar, but that's a separate issue. What I used to do, I had a better record collection than anybody else, and quite a few folk stuff of the standard sort of in there, and the Corries, the Spinners, Clancy Brothers and Tommy Makem, and a few others. And I used to write the songs, and I'd sing the songs with a full cheat sheet, idiot sheet, And I think I learned that I like songs with a story. Obviously, folk music's all about stories, but also emotional songs and things like that. I suppose one of the things I've possibly learned is if you can make the girls cry, you're onto a good thing.
Well, that's what I was going to come on to, actually. John Whale at the Candlelight often talks about when you're not there in the nicest possible way, but usually relating to the most depressing
The
songs.
slitting of wrists. Yeah.
Yes, so why have you got that reputation?
Well, Jeff, who's the MC at what was the Beamish Mary, and then the Borough, and now Stanley Folk and Acoustic at the White Room. Jeff always used to stand up and say, "Right, prepare to slit your wrists, Eric's on." But I just like, I mean, I'm quite a happy person, and I like things that touch me emotionally, and I find sad things touch me emotionally as well. So I do like to sing sad songs, but they're not all sad. And I mean, one that Jeff used to get over, he used to say, because he used to introduce it is, this comes from a picture I saw of, I wrote it, I've written 3 songs in my life, basically because I went by mistake to a Folkworks summer school and signed up for something called Folk Words, which was, I thought, about explaining folk songs, but in fact turned out to be a songwriting course. And Finlay Napier, who ran it, was a great teacher, actually got me to write some songs. But one of them was based on a photograph he showed us. And I said, it's of two very old people, a very old couple. And I think one of them's got dementia. But it's a love song. Wouldn't mention the word dementia ever since Jeff always introduces it with, slit your wrists. So.
So can you share a story behind one of the songs that you prefer to sing, your favourite song, that, and why you sing it, that listeners might not know?
That's a hard question.
I know, I get.
Possibly, going back to the previous question, I do try and do Mary Chapin Carpenter's song John Doe number 24, and it is, I actually introduced that one as this is the saddest song you'll ever hear, because it's true, it's based on a true story. And I mean, that's a story of she found a newspaper cutting about a guy who died in a hospital, but who'd been in care of some form or other for most of his life, and he was deaf, dumb and blind. But he'd been born in New Orleans, and he'd found his way up to, I have to think of the first line together, Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah, can't remember. Anyway, he'd found his way up the river, and there were things they knew about him. The nurses gave him a harmonica, and he got a tune out of it because he could feel the vibrations and things like that. And he had certain things. He had a type of hat that he always wore, and a little satchel he kept things in and things like that. And it's sort of his story. I mean, obviously, she's embellished it, I guess. And it's an emotional story to me, so I try to sing it as emotionally as I can.
I think the most emotional song I've ever heard you do was "I Will Always Love You." I was absolutely blown away by that. Absolutely marvellous.
I like the song. I liked it before
Whitney got hold of it.
And then it was a great song, fitted that film really well. My favourite version is Dolly Parton doing it with, yes, his name's gone. It'll come back to me in a minute. Used to used to be the Country Music Association Awards MC.
I would have no idea.
Great guitarist as well. It'll come back to me, but the two harmonies on that I thought were great. And I'd always fancied doing it, and sort of, one of the things I try and do is do songs, a lot of songs that people don't know, or most people don't know, because I have this thing that if you're going to do a song that is famous and somebody else knows, why does anybody want to listen to you singing it when they can do it on the record? And I realised that one of the reasons is because they like to sing along, and that meant, I sort of thought, that was a light bulb moment. Yes. So I thought, try a few songs that people do know, but I like to do them slightly differently. And what set that one off for me is, ages ago I got a partial capo and tried it on a few songs, and it worked okay, but it's quite a high song, so I thought maybe, so I dropped the tuning down a semitone, and I used the partial capo and have a sort of rhythm to it that suits me, and it seems to go down well. Yeah.
It was absolutely mind-blowing. You could hear a pin drop. It's absolutely brilliant. So what has been your most rewarding performance that you've done and really thought, yeah, that was great?
Ooh. It tends a lot of the time to be just a song that I've done, and I think I've done that quite well. I've never done a lot of gigs, partly because, my story is after that folk club at Sacriston. Had a guitar sitting in the corner all my life, basically, and I used to pick it up and play, and I used to buy songbooks. I never played out, and never even thought of it until I was 43. I decided I need to buy a good guitar, so I bought a Takamine and started going to some little community centre things where a lady would teach us a few chords on a Saturday morning and things like that. And I met a guy there called Jim Simpson, who actually ended up buying that Takamine. And he said one day, you should come with me. I've just started going to this folkworks thing at Cademan Hall in Gateshead. Later moved to the Sage. So I went along to that. 1997, 1998, something like that. Probably 1997. And I kept doing courses there every Tuesday night till 2013. And they were all folk courses apart from the last year when I did Blue Jazz Voices with Lindsay Hannon, which was also a great revelation. So I didn't sing out apart from that 9-month period back in 1971 until 2013. And now I've forgotten the question.
What performance gave you that thrill, which is the best one for you?
So one of the reasons, having seen so many wonderful performers and teaching, just to sort of make a living, I've always been a little, whoa, there's plenty of people out there who are much better than me. Why don't you do it? So I've not done many gigs, but I've done support slots in a few places, and two that spring to mind that I really enjoyed would be, I think it was the first one I did at the Candlelight, where there were two support slots, and Trevor was doing one of the others. Now he's brilliant, so it was great. So that night seemed to go well, and Kojo did an album with Kitschy Retro that got together as a foursome, and did a gospel album, and they launched it at the Globe in Newcastle and asked me to do a support slot there, and that seemed to go down really well as well. So yeah, those two would probably be the ones that I can remember best.
So, what interests or hobbies do you have outside of music?
An interesting question. When I retired some 8 years ago, coming up to 9, um, I I used to get asked. People used to say for years and years, you know, you'll pop your clogs in the job. You'll never retire, because I was really loved what I did and really enjoyed it. But through a series of circumstances, some bad changes at work, also some good changes at work in terms of my own career and things like that. I actually retired just, like cold turkey. I, I was finished. It was perfect. My head was not longing to go back to work, anything like that. Bang, it was finished. Because of that, and because I was actually going to retire, loads of people used to say, "What are you going to do?" So I came up with a sort of standard list, because my granddaughter was due to be born 6 weeks after I retired. So I said, right, more time with my family, more time with my church, more time with my granddaughter, more time with music, and more holidays. And that's pretty well it. That's exactly what it worked.
Sounds absolutely spot on to me. That's grand. So, with the songs you've written and your performances, what legacy do you hope to leave?
I'm not sure. I'd like to think I've influenced my granddaughter to like music and to want to do it. And fingers crossed, it seems to be working. She's 8, so uh, other than that, as a legacy, I don't know really. I think I'd just like people to remember and say, "You could sing that, lad." Beyond that, don't know. There's a lot of wonderful people I've found. I mean, as I said, 2013, I started singing out again, and we did something at work. Some of our students were going to Zambia over summer as a sort of placement type experience, and a charity-based placement experience. And at work, we decided, because a few other people at work played instruments and things like that, we said, let's have a concert. And, with some raffles and things like that, and people pay to get in, and it'll go towards these students. So we did it twice. And I enjoyed that. And Minnie Fraser, one of my colleagues, was in a band called Canny Crack, who ran the Ovington Bridge End Folk Club. And Minnie suggested it was a once a month one, come along. That was a bit of a trek, but I really enjoyed it. And I met Jack Burness there. And Jack said, "You must come to the Beamish Mary." And that was every week. So I went, and I mean, Jack was great for me. He made me learn songs, you know, basically. And I wasn't a ukulele player, so I could, because you only seem to have two rules:
Oh,
learn your songs and don't play ukulele. And that sort of started me looking at other, because people would talk to me about other clubs, and I started going around. And there was once a time where I had 9 clubs on my list, and I tried. There's only Beamish and its follow-ons that I've gone every week. With some others, it's every 2 weeks. With some, it's once a month. But I try and spread them out. I'm not quite going to as many as 9. But what I found was they're just wonderfully friendly places, and they're really supportive. I was trying to think on Monday night when I so disastrously flamed out, as it were. I think I was just too tired. I couldn't remember anything. If that had been a sort of what I imagine, because I've never done this, is one of these pub-based open mics. you know, where I've heard about some of them that it can be quite critical, and you know, you're not allowed to do this and you've got to do that and all that sort of thing. I mean, that would have been a really bad experience. But at the Duncowan one day, everybody was like, "Come on,
It doesn't
it
matter.
happens. It
It
doesn't
does.
matter. We're
We
all friends."
more than that. I think we're more of a family, to be honest. You know, we look after each other and
Yeah,
care about
yeah.
each other. I mean, I've fallen on my sword many times, and you've probably witnessed it. And you know what? It's a soft place to fall.
It is, and there are some extremely talented people there. You know, some
Mr.
with
Wrightson was on form. I'll give him that.
he was, yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
I'd only listened to that song in the car earlier that day, so and he hadn't sung it for a long time. Yeah, I mean, there's some great voices,
Oh, thank
like
you.
your good self, and some great musicians, and it's so helpful.
Well, that's what I love about it. Say, I've learnt so much myself with, well, my guitar playing and my confidence as a playing the guitar, trying to multitask, never easy. So, it's been lovely chatting, and I'm looking forward to hearing you sing at the candlelight later on this evening.
Well, let's hope I get it right this time.
I'm sure you will. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll just keep singing.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sammy.
Bye.